What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to Nsway 73 TV. Make sure you take a quick second and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you like these interviews and shows that I have on the platform. Also, quick plug, make sure you head over to Changing of the Hip Hop Guards and check the interviews that me and my man, the journalist Sincere, have over there. Man, there's a lot of good treats. And yeah, Nsway 73 TV. The TV doesn't stand for only TV. It stands for talent and vision. You know what I'm saying? Identifying your talent and having a vision to make that talent go to where you want it to go. And we're here today with none other than Lifelong. I pleasure having you, man. We've connected in our event that we had last summer. It was. I saw
Which
you
was
again recently.
official, my brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Official.
you.
You had
And
everybody up in that spot, bro.
yo, oh, man, that was. I don't even know how that happened.
It was lit, bro. It was lit. And I ain't gonna hold you. The fact that it was free was
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
like, bro, it was a great night, man. It was a great
I
night.
kind of do.
That was one for the culture, bro. Cause it's not something like that. I ain't even gonna hold you. I do a monthly every month in Brooklyn,
Yeah, yeah.
and
We're gonna talk about
we
that.
charge 20. That
Yeah,
event you
yeah.
did right there, I would have paid 20 for that or 25, bro. Cause you had performances, you had known DJs rocking and just like people there. That was a very good party, man. A good, nice networking
Yo,
event. You had
you know what I'm
FT Rock, you had FT, you had
Yo,
you
Power
had
Rule,
my dude from Power Rule Rock.
Curious,
Like it was yo, bro.
Curious
Yazid,
jumped on
yeah,
the
my brother
mic.
Yazid killed it.
Yazid,
He opened
Yazid.
that up and killed it.
Yeah, yeah, yo, oh man,
It was
dude.
a good
Yo,
night, man. It was a good night.
it was definitely a good night. But like I said,
And I ain't gonna hold you too. You know what I'm gonna say?
what's up?
It's funny. That same spot. You know what? I'm not gonna say who, but that same spot, one of my peoples had
This is
their wedding.
pre-recorded, so I can edit it, bro.
No,
Don't
no,
worry.
no. You don't even have to edit because I'm not
Yeah.
going to say the name. But the person that's watching this, they're gonna know and they're gonna smile. The only reason why I'm not going to say the name is because he's not with that person anymore. You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
one of my boys, he had his wedding reception at that same venue.
What?
Yeah, with the Brooklyn Pool, right?
Union Pool. Yeah, yeah,
Union
yeah,
Pool. He had his wedding
yeah.
reception at that same spot. And my boy that I
But
was with, Jedi,
yeah.
he was the DJ. So when we went to that party, it was a crazy
Oh
vibe
wow.
because you know they got the tacos in the back and all of that,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that was it was mad funny because my boy had his wedding
His
reception there.
wedding reception. There. Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout
yeah.
out to my
Nah, it was
peoples that know what I'm talking about, and
okay,
my peoples
okay.
know what I'm talking about out there. That's
Sh-
watching this.
Shout out to them. Shout out to them, man. But yeah, no, I wanted to mention that also because that's where me and you connected, and and it's funny. I real quick, and then we'll get into your story. But you mentioned Yazzie, for example, right?
Yes, sir.
And with this hip hop thing, as far as especially like with the music, there's so much and so many people of different parts and everything, and sometimes it's hard to remember or know everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I had so we had what's his name?
True.
Sophisticated. Well, that yeah. So Rhinoceros Funk.
Yes, right now some funk.
We had him on. We interviewed Rhinoceros Funk.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about Sophisticated Savages from a little while back. You know what I
Shout out
mean?
to
I
my
came
people.
across them, right? And then one thing led to another. We had him on. I made the connection. Oh yeah, that's right. And then I Truth, who I went to school with and known for years and years, when we were putting the event together, hit me up like, "Yo, um, I got my man." And I had seen I Truth kind of plugging him in. I didn't make the connection at the time yet that
Right, that he was
he was
working with
part
him.
of, with Sophisticated Savages too,
Right,
though. You know what I mean?
right.
So I'm like, yeah, I Truth, and I'm like, no doubt, have him come through, let him get on the mic, rocked it. I'm like, yo, this dude is ill. And it was like after, then I started connecting the dots, and I'm like, yo, shit, I remember seeing his name, man. So then here we go. Me and you were talking or whatever, and I see the same type of connections. I see Sophisticated Savage. I see you up in one of the videos and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, I love hip hop.
That
I
video
love
that you
this
saw
shit.
me in for Sophisticated Savage, that was actually on. It was on this. It was on this. This is a vinyl I put out called Afro Picks. It was my first compilation that
Okay.
I wanted to put a compilation together. I wanted to put a compilation out that showcased people that I wanted to showcase. I'm only on like 2 songs too, you know what I'm saying? But I got songs from different people. So
Multiply for
that
okay.
song that Sophisticated Savage did, you know what I'm saying, was on this song. And I got the video shot, you know what I'm saying, for that song because it was on this album.
Wow,
Shout
that's
out to
crazy.
Sophisticated Savage, Rhino, White
Yeah.
Owl, you know what I'm saying, Yazilla.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to all of them, man. So here we are with you now. Um, coming out of Queens,
Yes, sir. Queens,
born
Brooklyn,
in Queens. Okay, I was
but
going
born
to
and
ask you,
raised in Queens.
born and raised in Queens. What part of Queens?
Jamaica. Jamaica,
Jamaica.
Queens, Cambria Heights was
Oh,
my
okay,
stomping
okay,
grounds.
okay, okay.
Cambria
Got
Heights,
a little.
Lawton, and then I moved to Brooklyn in '97.
Okay, okay. Still rough.
You
still,
know what I'm
still rough
saying?
in '97.
Oh yeah,
No
definitely.
doubt. So, before you make the move to Brooklyn, talk a little bit about growing up in Queens. You know, what was going on? What was the scene like for you? You know, talk a little bit about some of the things you might have been into at the time, leading up to you, you know, like coming into contact with hip hop, you know, and falling in love with hip hop. So, a little bit before that, what was going on? What was the scene like? What were some of the things you were into?
Well, I'm an old head. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
my journey just with I would just say culture, bringing in hip
Mm-hmm.
hop as far as like the music, you know what I'm saying, and the whole art form. But just like diving into the culture, me diving into the culture started, I would say, in the early 80s. In the early 80s, me living in Jamaica, Queens, I was a wall watcher first. And if you know what a wall watcher is, that's just like a graffiti enthusiast. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's just like, you know what I mean, into just like as a kid, into all of the bright colors and just seeing everything.
That was
So,
me.
you know what I mean? So
That
that's
was
what
me.
basically sparked me. I went to a elementary school called PS 176 in
Okay.
Queens in Lawton. It was in Cambria Heights and in the beginning of Lawton. So there all of the OG graph heads used to spray paint the handball courts. So
Mm-hmm.
just watching those characters spray paint, it was just like it was crazy. And then I had an older sister. I had not a, had a. I have an older sister. You know what I'm saying? That's 2 years older than me, and she was already listening to hip hop, and she was a dancer. So she
Okay.
was already into like the dancing and stuff like that, and her room was right across from my room. So I would hear everything coming out of her room before I got a radio. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like between what I was seeing on the walls in school and then what was I was hearing from her radio. And then finally I just started asking questions. And even though I used to get on her nerves a lot because I'm the little brother, I was like, what are you listening to? Like, what are you? And then she just put me on to like the music. And then like I remember the first songs that I heard um was like because this is like 83, 84, 85, early 80s. So I remember I was hearing Masters of the Ceremony. I was
Yeah.
hearing early uh Dana Dane, early
Okay.
Slick Rick, just like all of the early stuff, early Juice Crew. And then once I got my own radio for Christmas, I think that next year or something, like 85, it was on. And then I was just basically doing my own, you know what I'm saying, just like research and listening to Mr. Magic and Red Alert. It was like, you know what I mean, those two radio wars. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
grew up into that, and it was just like from the music to watching the walls, and then
Hmm.
I figured out because we didn't have my pops. He's like, I'm not getting cable. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have cable, but I figured
You get
out
out.
that there was, you know what I mean, Channel 31,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it came on right, and it was this guy named Uncle Ralph that actually showed the videos now of what I was hearing. So now I got a chance to really see because I'm young, so I
Hmm.
don't, you know, my sister was older, but I'm young, so I don't know what's going on. So now I'm seeing
Right.
what I'm hearing, and I just, bro,
That was it.
it was it was it between just everything, and then it was like Video Music Box was like the icing on the cake, bro, icing on the
Mm.
cake. It was like, you know what I mean, after just, you know what I mean, and it was a wrap. And then it was like I was able to talk the conversation when I went to school about who some of the greats was and who I started, you know, and then it was like going, you know, to buy cassette tapes and you know, like collecting music and you know, trying to scratch on my father's, you know, record player.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was just like the love, man. And I think growing up in New York had a lot to do with it. And no disrespect to any other places, because there's a lot of dope hip hop and a lot of dope history all over the world. But I just feel like if I didn't live in New York, I don't know if I would have probably had the same love.
Gravitated to it. Yeah,
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 because it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like I was right there and I was seeing everything as it was basically
As it was
starting.
happening.
And then living in
Hmm.
Queens, no disrespect to any of the boroughs, because I'm also representing Brooklyn too. But Queens had some of the dopest MCs back in the days, bro. We had like it was just so many dope MCs coming from Queens, man. So it was just like, yo,
Yeah.
it was a
So
great time to be alive.
there's I always hear conversations come up about which borough has the most MCs or artists, and it's usually a toss between Brooklyn and Queens. Um, because the Bronx, it's a funny thing, man. Like the Bronx, even though like it was, that's where it
Started
was
there.
started and everything,
Hmm.
I feel like they don't have as many.
They
They
don't.
had what they have are lethal.
They have a
You know
leak.
what I mean?
They have a leak because everybody that made
Yeah,
it big from the Bronx made
yeah.
it big and is somebody that really did it for the culture. If you think about
Right, right, right.
some of the big
But
Bronx
as
MCs.
far as quantity, amount,
Right.
man, I don't. Queens, man, Queens, Queens got a lot, man.
Yeah, and you think about the '80s, you think about Kid and Play, you think about Salt and Pepper, and then I mean the list goes
Oh,
on. And
it's
then you
too
think about the
long. Yeah,
'90s, what the '90s did with Mobb Deep. And we brought, come on,
Nas,
Nas.
CNN,
Oh
and
man, Tragedy, CNN, Organized Confusion, which is
Organized
my favorite
Confusion.
group ever. OC,
Word.
you know what I'm saying? Even though he's from Brooklyn, he used to live in Queens. He lived in South Side. You know what I'm saying? So Queens just had a lot of dope MC, and then a lot of people used to come from other boroughs just to chill in Queens, just to shop in Queens. Like when I
Yeah,
was a
Queens.
shorty, um, and this has to do with my journey too of how I started in hip hop too. In
Hmm.
the early '90s, right after high school, I used to work in this clothing store called Montego Bay, and this was right on the
Montego
same
Bay.
block as the Coliseum. And they
Hmm.
sold all of the fly stuff, you know what I'm saying? So all of the drug dealers, all of the hip hop artists used to go there to buy clothes. So I used to work in there as a salesman. So I would be selling these people like some of the hottest clothes. I would be talking to like one time I met the whole Wu Tang. They came in there, you know what I'm
Word.
saying, right when Protect Your Neck, the video, right
Yeah,
before
yeah,
that
yeah.
video came out. And they were coming in
Wow.
shopping for clothes. So I got a chance to meet them. Method Man gave me the cassette single of the Protect Your Neck. I still have it too. I posted it on
Get out of here.
Instagram a couple of months ago. So it's
Wow.
just like, you know what I mean? So that alone, you know, living in
Yeah, that's
Queens and
priceless.
just, yeah, man, it was priceless.
It's priceless. That's crazy, man. Um, it's funny you mentioned a little, when you were talking about the wall watching. Uh, Almost every time I get into a conversation about, like, for me as far as hip hop and what gravitated me to it, I always say the same story. It was actually the graph first. because like you said, I was very young. I was young at that time. So when I would come outside, my father lived in Manhattan. So man, I'm talking about like maybe 82. You know what I mean? Like around 82, I'm in Manhattan all the time. So coming outside and seeing the walls, seeing the subways, me and my pops going on the subway and it pulls up and it's just all these colors. And then you would see certain characters that were related to what you just saw on the cartoons, let's say. So to me, looking at all of that, it was like the first thing that caught my attention.
You know what
So
also too?
it's funny you said that.
And you know what also too, to add on to that? Remember I'm from Queens. So when I would go to the Coliseum Mall that was in Jamaica Avenue, Shirt Kings had a booth in there.
Sure Kings. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
just to see those characters and stuff too, which was
Mm,
crazy because I was young too, like even seeing like the Shirt King stuff, like the
mm.
airbrush and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, it was very color. Everything in hip hop at the time was it was really vibrant. You know what I mean? From the dance to the art to the music, like, and it all meshed so well together. You know what
So
I
it
mean? They're
kind of
like,
made you, even if
mhm,
you weren't an MC, if you weren't a DJ, you were connected with the culture somehow back then.
somehow,
So
right?
it was like automatically, if you was a kid growing up in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? Or 90s, you automatically like I don't know how like these kids get hooked now. I mean, I could see how because there's so much history that's left, but as far as the new stuff, I feel like it's a little bit different. We had a lot of culture to really get people
Yeah,
in, even with breakdancing, because that was my next.
that
After
was your
after the
next thing.
graph, it was like just looking at the breakdances and stuff. Everybody wanted to be a breakdancer, you know. I couldn't
Yeah,
breakdance for nothing. I could pop a little
nah, me,
bit, couldn't
yeah, me neither.
breakdance, but you know what I'm saying? It was something I
Yeah,
wanted to do, and that's what
yeah, yeah.
got me into the culture as well. You know what I'm
It was
saying?
it was it was very it was like I said, it was very captivating, man. Because I remember, like you said, going to, for example, in the city, sometimes Washington Square Park, you'd have the dances, you know what I mean, out there with crowds around them, and they're doing all kind of stuff, the stuff they're wearing, like it was just, man, it's. I always say this is why I did the shirt, True Hip Hop Feeling, because sometimes it's hard to explain it
Right,
because you had to live it. But
right.
to what you just said, as far as the kids now, I forgot who I heard say this, that you have some artists now, like young artists, that are doing hip hop music, and they said, I forgot who it was, but they said, you know what, we call these artists hip hop, but they're like, are they really hip hop or are they just doing music that happens to kind of fall into the category of hip hop? Because they were saying that, like, are they into the dance? Are they into the grab? Are they into anything else outside of the music? And
Right.
it was like, oh shit, you know what? Like, we kind of just think because of how what we come from that is automatic. But in reality, if they're not around it somehow, they're not seeing it like we did.
Yeah. We have a
So
fault.
is it?
We got a fault to it to a little bit. I just feel because our generation, a lot of us had kids at early ages, and like we had to work, and we had to, you know what I'm saying? So we didn't have time to really stop and show. And a lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, that's maybe over 35, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them, you know what I mean, a lot of them are not really into the culture like they should be into the culture. And it's a
Right.
lot of people that might have, you know what I'm saying, been diehard fans or whatever, but then they lost luster of it over the years. And it wasn't really, I don't think, it was a lot to do with the music, but it had to do with just them having to work and the struggles too. Because if you think about it, like our parents, it was the same thing. We come from a working class society, so even our parents, they didn't stop to show us disco. You understand what I'm saying? We created a
Right.
whole culture off of what our parents were listening to. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the same thing, but I feel like these kids now, some of them are going back and referencing to what we did and what our forefathers did, but a lot of them, like you said, are just coming and just like, all right, oh, that's a good sound, oh, I like that, so I'm going to kind of imitate what that is, but they don't have a knowledge of the music, the history, or even of the sound of what they're trying to portray.
Right, right, right. I think a lot has to do also everything you said, and I'm just going to add also just the times changing,
Definitely.
and as far as what when you come outside, what you see and what's around you. Like I said, when would come out at that time, you know, almost every corner somebody was playing music. You know what I mean, with their radio, whatever. Or you would go and there was kids dancing, and so, you know what I mean. There was a lot, like it was just there.
Right.
Where
So like, and,
now
that's what I'm
I
saying.
feel
Like
like you
our
have to
generation,
find.
right? Our generation, a lot of our generation, we turn to the getting money aspect of the culture. So we didn't have a lot of the Barbados or a lot of the Uncle Ralphs and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, think about in the 2000 era, who can we really say? You understand what I'm saying? That was really like holding it down for these kids right now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could name a few, but those are people that we know and were cut from the same cloth. You know what I'm saying? And were just kind of like handed the torch. I would say somebody like a Sushio Smash that was handed the torch
Sushi
to
Smash,
Barbados.
yeah.
So he's younger than somebody like me, but at the same time, he understands the era and he came up as a younger head like him and a Tim C. You understand what I'm saying? But there's not a lot of kids like that. Even uh uh Rob, you know what I'm saying? Rob, that the journalist Rob, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That also rhymes, you know what I'm saying? He's from that cloth that's a little bit under
Oh,
me too.
Rob Markman.
Rob Markman, you know what I'm
Yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I just know him as Rob, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's not
yeah.
that many. You can only there's only a handful. I feel like that was really showing these kids right now, and that's why we got an influx of the bull. You know what I'm saying? At
Mm-hmm.
least we had people showing us. We had the Barbados, we had the Uncle Ralphs, we had a whole lot of that because hip hop was still new as well too, and we were all growing with the culture as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Now
Yep,
it's
yep.
like it's turned into a business. So it's like these kids are just trying to get money. So it's I mean, so I'm thankful at least when I hear something that is relevant to what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said though, what is their true passion behind that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, and shout out because they're, like for example, you have like out in Manhattan, you have that whole movement with light feet, for example, and stuff like that. Like it's still it's different, but they still they still carrying on what I would say kind of a tradition.
Yeah,
They have their dance, they have
right,
their music, they have the way they dress. Like you know what I mean? They still embody.
right.
It's a new generation, but it's still the same to me personally.
Same. Yeah.
So like there's still stuff out there. I'm not trying to say that it's
Yeah,
not.
there's a lot. There's a lot. And
Absolutely,
and,
it's
and
a
I'm not
lot.
gonna say that there was a lot, because if you think about it, 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying, we got Pro
Hmm.
Era. We had 12 years ago, we had Pro Era. And Pro Era was like a really good representation of I feel like the sound that I was used to listening to. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And
right,
and there was a lot of different crews like that.
right. So you mentioned Graph. You mentioned the breaking and everything. At what point do you realize that you want to try to take a chance or take a shot at rhyming?
High school.
And
High
high
school.
school.
I wasn't the main cat that was rhyming in the lunchroom at the ciphers, but I was always listening, and I always was going home writing rhymes. And
Okay.
then when I was in like the 10th grade, that's when I got the name L.I.F.E, and I had like a little group. You know what I'm saying? I had a little crew at that time in the 10th grade, and we were
Okay.
actually going to the studio and cutting little demos. So
Oh wow. Okay.
I was yeah, so in the 10th grade I was like recording demos, you know what I'm saying, going to the studio.
Wow.
So I already had experience in high school doing it. And then when I graduated from high school, I did my first talent show. I thought I was dope. Me and my partner at the time, I was in a whole new group, and what I mean, we had cut a couple of demos. We thought we was dope.
Yeah.
And
Right.
we
Right. Right.
did a talent show, and we got booed.
Oh
And
man.
this
Wow.
was like in 1990. This was like 93, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
LaGuardia Community College. And me and
Oh
my
wow.
partner got
LaGuardia. Okay.
booed. And after
Wow.
that, it was like I had to figure out, yo, what am I doing with this? Am I really gonna take this serious? Like, what am I doing with this? And I wrote a fire rhyme, and I just hit the dojo. And after that, it was like, you know what I'm saying? After that, I really started like taking it serious. The partner that I had, he dropped off, you know what I'm saying? And then
Okay.
I was solo for a little while. And then I got with a like a really just I got really with a really good crew back in the days. You know what I'm saying? In 1995, I got with a really good crew, and me getting down with that crew just showed me everything. And that crew was DMO, which was my first
DMO.
crew, and it consisted of Apani B Fly, uh,
Oh well.
Mike
Okay. Yeah.
One,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hostile Rhymes, DJ Mischief. We had my boy
Okay.
Decker down with us, you know what I'm saying? And we
Wow.
was the DMO, the Dead Men's Organization. In 1995, we had our own radio show on 105.9. It was called a Graveyard Shift. We started throwing our own
Wow.
shows.
105.9. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
we started throwing our own shows, did everything. And then we even basically we was a crew and we was all like making our own demos,
Yeah. Hmm.
but we was like, yo, we got to push somebody in the crew, and we saved up enough money, and that's how we helped put out Apani's first single, "The Woman in Me." You know what I'm saying? On Q Borough Sounds. That was my whole crew, the DMO. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my first real intro to say, you know what, we taking it serious. I'm with a bunch of like serious people. We're making moves. And yeah, after that, like, so I would say like, yeah, 93, 95 is when the journey really began.
Right. So now, leading up to right before you got down with that crew,
Mm-hmm.
you got booed at the talent show. Now, what is this strictly yourself going home and just practicing? Did you have anybody sort of maybe trying,
No, the
mentoring you a
crew.
little
I
bit?
had my me and my partner, we got down with the dude Mike One that was in the DMO crew. Mike One put me down with the DMO crew. Mike
Okay.
One, shout out to Mike One, man.
All right.
My brother Los, you know what I'm saying? Um, he basically used to go to my high school, and he was already basically making beats. He was already rhyming. He basically knew organized confusion. You know what I'm saying? Before they were
Okay.
signed and all of that, he was basically
Wow.
under the same management team as them. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So it was like, so he was coming to school telling me about stuff like, so I got down with him later afterwards. So once I got down with him, he kind of like helped show me the ropes. And then, you know what I'm saying, we had one of the illest female MCs in Queens down with us, Apani. So just with all that and my brother Hostile Rhymes, it was just when I got down with the DMO crew, that was
That's
when the dojo, everything. So they
gotcha.
they definitely helped me get to the point where I'm at now, as far as like really like recording um real songs in the studio, counting bars. Um yeah. And
Yeah.
then
4 million.
I'm
Okay.
gonna let you ask I'm gonna let you ask it, but then after DMO, I got down with another crew, and that other crew, after that,
That was it.
it was a wrap. That really like, you know what I'm saying, like put me on to everything.
Before we get to that, can you talk a little bit, briefly about Apani B?
Yes,
Um,
it's my
I'm
sister.
I'm curious. You said, if personally, I don't care female male. I like to just say artist MC, but I do want to focus on the fact that she is female. Um, Talk a little bit about her as far as her talent, as far as her skills. Uh, and the reason why I'm asking, because I feel that for some reason in hip hop, when it comes to women in hip hop, it seems like it's always questioned whether they actually have the talent or is somebody, writing for them all the time and it's just because they're a female. No, I'm not saying that's the case with her.
No. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just saying, but I feel like there's always like a little bit of a doubt when a woman is an artist, especially like in hip hop. Whether are they is it just because she's a female and we have somebody writing and we're going to put this package together? So I just want you to talk a little bit about her. I know, you know what I mean. I know I know Poundy B, man.
Well, it's
But
funny. It's what you say. My bad.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say, let speak on her a little bit and just let the
Well,
world
it's
know a
funny
little
because
bit more.
like I said in the beginning, you asked me, about my first beginning the journey of hip hop, and I told you that my actual blood sister was the one that put me on to hip hop. So
Okay.
when I got down with the DMO crew, um, and met Apani, I knew about her before I met her. Type, you know what I
Okay.
mean? She was in a group called the Afro Boots, and it was an all female MC group. And this is in the '90s, and she was nasty back then. And it was just like, because back then we didn't have social media and all of that, so cats would
Wasn't
just be
that the
rhyming in
one?
ciphers and stuff like that.
Wasn't
So
that the one with Gangali in them?
yes,
Right. I think. Who else? Who else? Wasn't
well,
Ty
Afro
Phoenix?
Boots, they
No.
they never really put out anything commercial. They just was like cutting a lot of demos. You know what I'm saying back then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they really I don't think any of their demos ever got like really released like that. But before the DMO crew, um like I said, Mike One was making beats and he was rhyming and stuff like that. So he was putting me on to just a lot of like underground people that was just like really making moves and just like cutting demos and doing stuff like that. So Apani was just like a dope female MC that I didn't know that I always heard about. So then when I got a chance to meet her, and then when Mike One was like, "Yeah, I'm forming this crew," and she's in it, it was just like, wow.
Like no
So
brainer.
it was like Apani, she was already dope. She definitely was already like, what I mean, writing her own music. She could freestyle off the top. She was dope. And Apani, the reason how I basically knew about the business, publishing, like labels, the fact that there was a market overseas was through Apani. Because like I
Through a
said,
pun.
we helped her put out her first record. So it was like when she was basically making all of those moves and talking with all of those people, you understand what I'm saying? Like we were right there. Like I remember we all went to the New Eurekan Poets Cafe together and we handed the demo to Bobito together. You know what I'm saying? So I
Wow.
watched that whole
The whole
movement.
process.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like when she did the song with
Wow.
MF Doom. You know what I mean? I was at that recording session. Doom wasn't there. She laid down her vocals, you know what I'm saying, for that track. He had his vocals laid down, and then she did another song, too. I forgot what that label was that put out that record or whatever. But
Okay.
I remember being at that session. So just for you to say about just women in hip hop and stuff, they don't get enough credit because
Nah.
Apani is a legend. And like I said, she's been doing this for a long time. I'm talking about like from the '80s. So she she's definitely, you know what I'm saying, has been she's been like I feel like she's been definitely one of the core people in the independent scene that
Right.
helped carry the torch and bring it to where it is now. And a lot of the female MCs that are doing it now, even to the Rhapsodies, to the Shay No Is and stuff like that, if they don't know who Apani is, they need to do their homework because they I'm not gonna say they owe anything to her, but she was like one of
No,
the
no.
first
But
between her, Jean Grey,
yeah,
you know what I mean, Lady Heroin. I mean, they were all on her first record.
it's just about
All of the illest female MCs was on Apani's first record too.
that's crazy.
She
It's
had
just
everybody
about
on her
giving
record.
credit where credit's due. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
she
That's
had
all it
everybody
is.
on record, man.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, so shout out to the female MCs, yo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to Pani and everybody else.
Yeah, yo.
Staying on that crew for a second, you talked about putting out her first album and getting hers out there. What was the plan? Like, were you guys thinking trying to get a major record deal? Independent. Like, what was the
We
game
were doing
plan as
all of
far as
that because back then,
whatever landed?
yeah, back then it was like, back then the main focus was to shop your demo to a label and to see if
Mm-hmm.
you would get signed and picked up. And so after like a couple of years of trying to do that, we all just started learning the business and just being on the scene and just seeing how we could create our own lane for ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we had our own radio show. We started throwing our own like showcases. So it was like, it was already inevitable. Like, we got to put out some music. You know what I'm saying? No one is giving us these deals or whatever. So we're going to just put this music out. You know what I'm saying? That we are standing behind this music. Demos are already being played on college radio, and we're already getting noticed. So we got to put some music out. So that was what we was like, you know what?
Okay.
Let's just do it. Because it
How
was
did?
like, yeah, it was really grassroots back then, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, for sure, for sure. How did you guys end up with the? You talked about the radio show.
We had there was a station called 105.9 back in the days, and they would actually charge you for a night. They would charge you like a couple of $100 for a night or whatever like that. So we got one of the wackest nights, Monday night at like midnight. And we was
Oh
on from
wow.
like I believe from like 12 to 1 or something like that. 12 to 1 or 12 to 2 or something like that. Yeah, so we paid for our slot on 105.9. It was a gospel station, but they allowed people to, have slots. There was a radio station, I don't know if you remember the Dirty Dozen. Um it was a dude named Cool Keith, Mecca, and they had like a radio show. That show used to come on
Okay.
Saturdays on 105.9.
On 105.9.
105.9. There was a few other known DJs. I
You
can't
know.
tell you everybody that had
Yeah,
shows
yeah, yeah.
on 105.9.
You know, I never knew that that's how that worked. I remember sometimes tuning into that station, and like once in a blue, it was like I would catch like some kind of hip hop or something like that. But then other times I would go and you know what I mean. It was like really random
Yep.
that I would, you know what I'm saying, and I would just
Rest in
happen to
peace,
throw.
Pumpkinhead.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Rest in peace. He had a station on that show too. Him and the Plague. Their show was actually their show was I think their show was on Sundays or something like that. Like their
Okay,
show was on Sundays and our show was on Mondays or something like that.
okay. Um, Before I ask you the next question, can you talk a little bit about whether it was with DMO, or, but around that time, what was it like as far as like how they say the grind, um, you know, doing shows where you guys performing, at different places. Just tell me a little bit about how that was. Were you guys in Washington Square Park,
Everywhere,
freestyle? Yeah,
everywhere,
yeah.
everywhere. Back then, when I used to roll with DMO, we would go everywhere. It was a lot of ciphers. Um, Rocksteady Park.
Hmm.
That was when when they first started doing the events back then.
Like
Um,
the anniversaries and stuff like
a
that.
lot of the Rocksteady anniversaries when it was
Yeah,
up
yeah,
at
yeah,
before it was like they moved it around so many times, but it used to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
officially at um Rocksteady Park uptown. I believe on 96th Street, I think.
Something like that. Yeah,
Something
yeah, yeah.
like that.
Somewhere
So
around
yeah,
there.
so we used to just go around like to like ciphers, open mics. We used to throw our own shows. So that was just pretty much the scene, like just the open mic scene, going to shows, trying to get on college radio. We used to call up radio shows and freestyle. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was just like how we would get known. There was no social media, so it was like it wasn't like you could
Hmm.
just put up a freestyle or post a video or stuff like that. It was like you pretty much had to create your own lane. So if that lane was rhyming on the corner for 3 hours in on West Fourth or something like that, yeah.
Hmm.
So that I'm definitely cut from that cloth. Like my crew was definitely outside during those times doing all of that.
Is there anybody in particular that you can think of that you might have crossed paths, during these ciphers or somewhere like that that
A
you
lot of people. All right, so DMO, we kind of like after Apani dropped the single, my brother Mike One started working for Fat Beats. And then after he
Okay.
started working for Fat Beats, like the crew just started kind of like going different directions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hostile, shout out to my brother Hostile. He joined the Air Force. He went to the Air Force, and this is all like, you know what I'm saying, early 90s. So everybody was kind of just doing their own thing. So at that time, um, the DMO crew was not as active and we weren't really doing as much anymore. You know what I'm saying? Everybody kind of like we all still cool, but like it just wasn't like it wasn't before. But being that I was going out to a lot of these open mics and everything, I started going to this place called 88 Hip Hop, and this was like a
Okay.
an internet radio
Yeah, yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I used to just go up there to chill. It was every Wednesday. So I would just meet all of these dope MCs, and we would be
That's
battling each
not.
other. We would
Was that Evil
rhyme.
D in them?
What happened?
Was that Evil D in them? That were they
Evil
up
D
there?
used to be up there, but
Yeah.
it was a bunch of other people. It was a guy named Randy who I think it was his vision that did the show. But then
Okay. Okay.
this female from that same radio show, Dirty Dozen, she was up there. Mecca.
Okay.
Um, there was like just a host of a lot of different people had radio shows out of there because that was the beginning of the internet.
Like the
So
online
of the
radio thing. Yeah, yeah,
online.
yeah, yeah.
So it was like a
Right,
whole
right.
building that had basically these online radios. So every
Okay.
Wednesday, it was like they would have this like 88 hip hop, and they would open it up to the public, and you could come up and you could watch the interviews, and everybody would just go up there to network. And then during that time, I used to do street promotions too. You know what I'm saying? I used to do street
Okay.
promotions for Universal Records. Um, I used to
Nice.
do like my own little. I would poly with certain people, and I would like pass out flyers for them. Like I would pass out flyers for Lyricist Lounge at times. I
Hmm.
would do stuff for other different labels. I would meet like other people from street teams and take stickers from them. So I would be in clubs. So we would go to 88 Hip Hop, and that would be a place where I could get off my records to DJs and stuff like that. So I used to meet mad MCs there. So um, when I went there, that's when I met Breeze Ever Flowing. And when I
Okay.
met Breeze Ever Flowing there, we became cool. And then one of the hosts of one of the radio shows was Kappa, who was also down, you know what I'm saying, with Breeze or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I met them. And Breeze was already like doing stuff. He already had, you know what I'm saying, vinyl out. He was already appearing on mixtapes. He was already doing shows. He already kind of like had a name for himself. You know what I'm saying? So me like kind of knowing him at 88 Hip Hop, it was dope. And it was just like other MCs and stuff. It was a hangout. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So Breeze had an idea at one point because it was like after like maybe a year or yeah, probably like about after like 8 months to a year of us all hanging out, you know what I mean? Everybody started bonding like a friendship, the people that would be there. So Breeze had an idea to start a crew. And he was like, yo, I want to start a crew. So he basically invited a bunch of people to be down with the crew. And only five of us showed up at his crib. And that five became Stronghold. So
Which was
after
gonna be my next question,
so
but
after so when I got down with them, that basically sparked the real like DMO was like the crash course, and you know what I'm saying, it learned like you know what I'm saying, but then when I got down with Stronghold, it was like, yo, I'm with this like four dudes that are better than me. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta keep up with them. And they actually feel like I'm as dope as them to be down with them. So like that was a whole different vibe, yo, and a whole nother
yeah, yeah.
journey, you know what I'm saying?
Well, see, that was gonna be my next question. Was can you talk a little bit about Stronghold and being that you already started it? Tell me a little bit more about a little bit deeper about the experience with that.
Yeah, man, it was
And
just it was just a
what?
dope crew. Shout out to all the members in Stronghold. You know what I mean? Y'all know the members of Stronghold. I ain't even gotta
How,
say. Y'all know who they
how,
are. um,
how talk a little bit also about what how it impacted you personally also as an artist.
oh
Going
man, it
through that whole
impacted me.
experience with Stronghold.
You gotta understand, like I said, I was already on the scene. So
Hmm.
when I was doing stuff with DMO, I was already on the scene. You know what I mean? And was already like basically on the scene, meeting people. I was going to clubs. We was already throwing shows. So I already kind of had a name for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
My first appearance on anything was on the Eddie Ill and DL mixtapes. I don't know if you remember those mixtapes. And those came out like in 95, then like 90, yeah, 95, 96.
Okay.
No. Sorry, like yeah, like 97 maybe around that time. And then I
What was the name of
also
it?
the Eddie Ill and DL
Eddie Ill.
mixtapes.
Okay,
And these were
okay.
basically like these underground mixtapes where they would have people freestyling and stuff like that. So I appeared on one of those. And then I had also, I used to battle rap, but not like how these cats is doing now. You know what I'm saying? It was a different vibe back then. But I was
Yeah,
in one
yeah.
of the first kind of battle things. It was just like I guess you would say battle leagues before Smack and all of that. There was
Okay.
bragging rights, and I'm a bragging rights winner. So basically, just knowing all of that, and then getting down with these four other dope MCs. You know what I'm saying? That were just as dope as me, and they had their own history and their own props and their own name. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right,
think
right.
meshing with them, it was a little bit different than DMO because DMO was something that was basically a Queens-based crew. I watched these cats. I came up with them. It was different because that was like some
Yeah,
Queens
yeah.
vibe. Like
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 a
we were
home
like
team. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Queens superstars. But then now I'm meeting people from other boroughs that are doing the same thing in their boroughs, but also, you know what I'm saying, are known, you know what I'm saying, throughout the city and stuff like that. So me meeting up with Stronghold, it basically, it was a dojo. It was like the training ground, basically. I feel like I really, really started um, getting into really learning how to really, really count bars to create, you know what I'm saying, songs, um, how to perform,
Stage presence and all of that
stage
stuff.
presence,
Yeah, yeah.
um, traveling. You know what I'm saying? Even though I traveled with DMO, like we did out of state stuff too. But when I got with Stronghold, it was a whole different vibe. You know what I'm saying? And it was getting down with something that really made an impact on the city. I mean, our crew is one of those crews. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. But we definitely made a impact on the. I feel like on the
On
scene
the
in the
scene. Right,
'90s
right.
and in the early 2000s. You know what I'm saying? So if you know, you know. So just me being a part of that movement was something. It was something really huge for me. It was something huge for me, and I mean, if I could do it all over again, I would. But I would definitely, you know what I'm saying, change a few
Yeah.
things, and I think we would all change a few things. I think we were all young back then too. You know what I'm
Of
saying? We were
course, of
young back
course.
then. We were young. We were all like, you know what I'm saying, in our early 20s, you know what I'm saying, and just trying to figure stuff out. And hip hop was basically very new at that time too. You know what I'm saying? Because you think about it, the internet was just really, really first starting. Um, a lot of this stuff was new.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're kind of learning
Yeah.
as things are becoming new and new things are being introduced. You guys are learning as you're going at the same time
Huge
as well.
learning. So Stronghold was just a
So
huge, it was a huge learning experience, man. It was a huge learning experience. And I shout out to my brothers, man. Shout out to my brothers. Especially I would say Breeze, because Breeze was the mastermind behind that. And
it's a cool
he
dude,
was he
man.
was he was everyone's big brother. If you would say like a leader, if he was A team, he was definitely the
Right.
Hannibal of the crew. You know what I'm saying? And we
Okay.
learned a lot from Breeze because Breeze was like already the star with the crew. And he already had, you know what I'm saying, records out and everything before like anybody in the crew. So it was like we learned a lot from Breeze, man, and we learned a lot from each other. And it was
Yeah.
just a dope time. It was a dope time. It was a dope time.
Nice.
Shout out to
Nice,
those
nice.
brothers, man. I
Yes,
miss
sir.
I
Yeah,
miss
yeah, yeah.
those times, man. I miss those times, yo.
You know, I was just gonna say before when you were talking about how you were working with the Universal and the promotion and how you were saying you were handing out flyers, like man, you just like that whole era and that whole scene. It just brought back something to me. When I don't know if you noticed, I kind of laughed when you were saying that,
Remember
and I was
Tramps?
just like,
Remember Tramps?
wow,
Remember
yeah,
Wetlands? Remember Tramps? Wetlands?
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
the cloth that I'm cut
The
from.
whole man,
That's the cloth that I'm cut from, man.
again, it was just one of those vibes. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, like we
And
would
what
rhyme
and
on the
what
we would rhyme on the corner for we would rhyme on the corner and just talk on the corner for hours. So after an event, the event would would turn to the block. And if you was a
Right.
true head, it was just like people would just be standing there rhyming and having conversations until the sun came up.
If you were in Manhattan, um, you know, like let's say doing whatever you were doing, you ever hit up a spot on Broadway called Soup and Burger?
Yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
the
By
diner,
Astor Place?
the diner,
The diner by
the
Astor
diner.
Place?
Yep. Everybody would go there and chill. And the big dude used to be at the door. They had a security guard at the door to make sure you paid that bill.
Yo, I saw, man, that place, besides the fact that I just used to love that place, like to go and eat, I
My
didn't
spot was the
realize,
falafel spots. My spot was the falafel
yeah,
spots,
the
right around the
falafels were
corner,
good.
like on A Street, right around the corner from the basketball courts. I used to stay going to the little falafel spots, the Middle Eastern spots. Those are my places because those are always like the cheap eateries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was good though.
That good though,
Man, shout
exactly.
out to Soup and Burger, man.
You know what I mean?
I put so many people on
And I
there.
ain't
I
even gonna
put
hold
from
you before I became pescatarian. I was definitely at Great Papayas.
oh yeah.
Pause on the glizzies.
Yeah, but they had the big lemonades and stuff,
Yeah,
man.
they had the mixed drinks, yo.
Man, yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
at what point between the DMO stronghold, when, did, even if or if it was around that time, when do you say, you know, it's time for me to put out a song, a project, you know, anything? At what point did that happen?
Well, I was trying to do it. Um, I was trying to do solo stuff for my whole career, so I always had demos. When I got down with Stronghold, my solo career kind of went on hold for a little bit because we were concentrating on the crew. We were trying to we did create a lot of songs, even though we never put out an album. We definitely have a lot of solo songs, and we have a lot of like tracks that we recorded. So during that time, I still wanted to do my solo stuff. And then I was watching all my brothers get deals. And I'm like, yo, y'all put out a solo. So then I said, you know what? Hold up for a minute. And then I said, you know what? Let me start getting serious. You know what I'm saying? Start getting really serious about that. And then that was when I started really concentrating on the solo stuff. Um, and that was
What?
actually shout out to my brother Emo. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
He was managing me back then, my solo career. So he actually inspired me a lot to do solo stuff. And then that
okay.
was when I put together this in 1999. Like you was like when you decide to put out solo stuff, I was like, you know what? I wanted to put something out. And a lot of companies was fronting on me. I was shopping my demos to like labels and fat beats and companies, and they was like, you're not ready yet, Life. So I said, you know what? I gotta put something out. So what I did was I compiled a mixtape together, and it was called Cuts and Collabos Part One. And I just took
Okay.
every feature that I ever was on, and I put freestyles and unreleased demo songs, and I put together that mixtape, Cuts and Collabos Part One, and I started selling it in front of Fat Beats. You know what I'm saying? And started selling it on the street. And that basically, started to create a buzz, got a name, you know what I'm saying? I got a name for that, or for just being down with
Okay.
Stronghold, and then, selling that mixtape, I had all of those features. So that inspired me to start really, really like, saying, after me being able to sell that mixtape, I said, yo, I could do this. And then I went to the studio, me and Emo, he was like, yo, go in the studio, you know what I'm saying? And we compiled the album together. And that's when I put out the Struggle is Paradise album, which dropped in 2003. So we're going on
Okay.
22 years of that album. I'm about to do a re-release of Struggle is Paradise. And that's my first
Nice.
solo project that was released in 2002 after the mixtape Cuts and Collabos 1.
Okay. So wow. So we're talking 90. You said about 95 ish around that
It
time
took
when you
it
got
took
down with
so it took
DMO,
19, yeah, so it took
more or less,
1995
to
to
2000.
19 to about 2000, and because I put out the single first before the Struggle is Paradise album, I finally got a single deal through Fat Beats to put out a single. So I put out the Incredibly Fresh single, which dropped in that dropped in 2002. And then Struggle is Paradise dropped in 2003. So when I dropped the Incredibly Fresh in 2002. So that was so it took like about 95, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Almost 10 years.
10 years for me to put something
About
out.
10
So when
years.
you look
About
at
10
people's
years.
journey, so think about it. And that was to finally put something out that was
Like,
tangible, that was
yeah,
distributed.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You understand what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And Struggles Paradise, we still put that out ourselves. Like Mo put that out on his label, Cajo Communications. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And we had, you know, little bit of distribution here and there for that project. But yeah, it took literally almost 10 years for me to actually put out something. But from
Right,
that
right, right.
time, I was perfecting my craft. I was performing. I was like, you know what I'm saying, meeting people. I was polying. I was networking. Yeah.
Yeah, but just to put it, like to put it kind of in perspective, like we're talking 10 years, which is actually a little longer than 10 if you start thinking about when you really, started
Right.
wanting to
Right.
rhyme and all of that.
Right.
But how much can happen? How many things happen in 1 year? Like meaning the amount of stuff that you can do as far as your networking and perfecting your craft and all that in 1 year. Now you're
From
talking about
now, but from
10
now terms to
years.
back then, it's different though, because
Yeah,
if
yeah.
things took longer, I felt to do back then. Because if you think about it, back then,
Right.
you would you would go to the studio. There might be a
Mm-hmm.
show. There might be somebody that you could maybe pass a demo off to or something like that. But it was a lot of waiting around. It was
Right.
like
That's what I'm saying. It's how much can happen like in 1 year alone, for example, is like, like you said, maybe you passed the demo, but either you didn't hear something back or maybe you did by the time you did, or you know what I mean? Like when you talk about somebody's journey as far as to get to or to try to get to where you want to get to, I I kind of understand when I hear people saying about, oh, these kids could just get up tomorrow and be like, oh, I want to make music, and they can do it. Like, it, I understand how that can pinch a nerve,
think about it. Think
you
about it.
know.
Back then, if I was able to record the music, put it on the internet, put it on YouTube with a video, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
and perform it, and you know what I'm saying, network and stuff like that, I would
Mm-hmm.
have been way bigger than what I am now, bro. Because I'm actually catching up to a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I've already done, which is
Right,
crazy. You know what I'm saying?
right,
People
right, right.
actually look at me as a new artist, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. And
Yeah.
think about it. So we haven't even really discussed the journey. But if you think about it, just look how long I've been in the game. So think about how many people I've met and
Right.
songs I've done with people just from that time period and just from
Mm-hmm.
now. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy,
Yeah, I
man.
put out two
Now,
volumes. I put out 2 volumes of cuts and collabos. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
they're not streaming or whatever. Like I'm eventually gonna put them stream. You know what I mean, gonna stream them
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But those 2 projects, you know what I'm saying, had basically they showcased collabos that I had with basically everybody, bro. And I rock with damn near everybody in the '90s. You name an artist in the '90s, and I probably got a song with them.
Wow, that's crazy, man. When you think about it like that, uh, we'll talk. We'll talk a little bit about the collabs in a second. I just want to. So you talked about the single through Fat Beats. Did you ever get signed to either a major label or an independent label
I've
at any
always done
point in time?
deals. I've always done deals. So
Mm-hmm.
I've always been my own independent where I've always just basically poly deals and done like one-offs and stuff. I've never been signed to kind of a label. You know what I'm saying? So I did the Fat Beats deal. I did a deal with a French label called Aesthetic Music. They put out a French import after Struggler's Paradise. I had another solo album called Longevity Volume 1.5. So they put that album out. I dealt with Grimm's label Day by Day. Um,
Okay.
I dealt with Raptivism that put out Cuts and Collabos Part 2. I've just dealt with like a lot of, you know what I'm saying, independent companies. you know what I'm saying, throughout my career. But I never really officially signed with anyone like officially.
Now, conscious move, like, did it have anything to do with, learning the business somewhat and decide, like, why that route?
Learning the business and the fact that I got fronted on a lot, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna just. I'm not gonna hold you. Like some of the deals that I passed on, I feel like I shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? Because back
Hmm.
then I was offered a lot of 50-50 deals back then. But me back then I was young and I didn't think that 50-50, and I'm not talking about major companies. I'm talking about like maybe like some independent companies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't think the 50-50 was lucrative because I'm like, yo, I'm recording the music. I'm the one getting the producers, the features. So why am I going to give someone 50%?
Give somebody fifty
But
percent of, yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
the same time, if I would have did some of those deals, I feel like my career probably would have went in a whole other direction. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not
Do you?
mad at anything that I've done, but when I look back, I think I should have been a little bit more humble and maybe not so more hardcore independent. Oh, I want to do this by myself, blah, 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 blah. Because now as I'm older, I'm seeing that, yo, you need help sometimes and you can't do
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
yourself. You know what I mean? You
Now,
can, but you can't do everything
it's
yourself.
gonna.
Sometimes you
No,
need
you
help.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need
sometimes you
some
need help.
kind of help. But
Yeah.
now, what do you think? In what way do you think it could have helped you? Do you mean as
I think
far as
like there was
the
there was a
push?
company there was a company that wanted to put out Struggler's Paradise. And I
Okay.
turned the company down and this was a good company. The person whose label it was, he was already running a big independent company. You know what I'm saying? So when he offered me the deal, it was like I could have went with him because he was already putting out projects. His label
Okay.
wasn't as big, but he was already working for a really big independent company. You know what I'm saying? So if
Okay.
I would have went with that company, who would have known just like how my catalog would have been now? You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like a lot of my music didn't basically, I feel like, get the numbers it could have went to because I was the one that was
Doing
pressing up the
everything.
product. So I was limited to do a lot of stuff. I was limited to get my music out to a lot of companies. If I would have went to certain companies that had distribution, maybe I would have been known in other parts or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes you got to kind of like look at what these deals are and just you don't always have to just do everything yourself. Sometimes get help. So I feel like if I would have gotten help, I could have maybe gotten a little bit the push could have been a little bit bigger, you know. But we
Gotcha.
learn from
Gotcha.
our mistakes. Outlets that are actually going to want to sell your music. Now you got to have to find places where you can perform the music.
Hmm.
You got to find a market. So it's
Right.
very hard, and it's a business now where if you're just now starting and you don't know what you're doing with this, I feel like you should learn the business before you even like want to do the talent, because
Hmm.
it's even though it's so easy to do stuff, you still have to connect with people, and you have to connect with you know what I'm saying people that will want to like mess with your sound as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't just send my music to any platform. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
there's
Right.
certain
Right.
platforms that don't cater to the music that I do. So it's a process, man. It's a process. It's a process. It's every day I'm trying to find new ways of trying to get my music out there and just trying to promote myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
So.
actually doing the same thing that you're doing right now. You know what I mean? I have a podcast that I've started as well. You know what I'm saying with my brother
Oh. Okay.
Emo.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Oh.
saying?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm just trying to do stuff like that just so I can be more visually out there.
Visible.
You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So people can say, "Oh, word, who's that? Oh, he got music too."
That's smart, man. That's smart. Yeah. 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 It's smart to do actually. Yeah, because self promote, man. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
so currently now, do you have any kind of team? Is there anybody that manager or anything, or is it strictly just you
It's
right now?
still strictly me. I mean, I do have my team. I got the Sessions crew. That's who I throw my shows with. You know what I'm saying? My
Hmm.
monthly showcase that I do it in Brooklyn. But as far as like pushing my music, It's pretty much me. I'm pretty much doing everything myself. I have a person, shout out to my brother Dan Shores, who helps me promote my music to the college radio and just to just like platforms that spin independent music. So he helps me with that. Um, as like when I put out videos, I usually use my brother Pocket the Plug. You know what I'm saying, on YouTube, who has a very good channel that showcases independent artists. So I always give him my videos. You know what I'm saying. So my YouTube page might be a little bit light, but
Good
I'm
stuff on.
about
I
to
saw
revamp.
something on it.
But I'm about to revamp my
Yeah.
YouTube page and put more stuff on there and put a lot of the videos that have already been out. And I'm about to revamp it and do more stuff because I understand that, you know what I mean. Just every avenue is gonna help you. So it's just I'm just learning right now, brother.
It's a lot of work.
It's a
It's a
lot of
lot of
work.
work.
It's a lot
But
of work.
but
And then for older artists
I,
too, it's like we're constantly having to learn,
yeah,
constantly
yeah,
having
yeah.
to learn.
One thing I saw someone, if you and I mean, I'm not saying, maybe you noticed, but I'm just saying it helped me a lot, especially with doing the shows. If you write out yourself like a schedule, right, of like, this day is for this day's for that. So like, you might have one day where it's like, okay, today I'm concentrating on my YouTube page and putting stuff up there, whatever, because that could take some time. You know what I mean? And then you have like another day where it's like, okay, you know what? Today's gonna be a day for blasting out stuff to all the, Instagram, this, that, whatever, just like to promote. And then you gotta, if you kind of do it, it helps a little bit when you can sort of visualize it,
Right, right,
as
right.
opposed to having it up here like, man, I have to do this. Okay, I need to do this one day. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
next thing you know, you get so like,
you get caught up. You get caught
because
up
there's too
because
many things to do
it's too
for
many
one
things to
person.
do. It's so much. So you have to have a plan. You got to have a plan. So
Yeah,
I ain't gonna hold you, man. I'm starting to learn
yeah,
all of
yeah.
that.
No, me too.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn. Like
Me
like
too.
right now, I literally just now. This is kind of cleaned up my Spotify because
Mm-hmm.
I had to lock that down and clean that up. So now I'm trying to concentrate on that now, and the YouTube is next, and I mean my Bandcamp is already popping. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But
I saw that.
it's just
Yep,
like
yep.
learn. Like, it's just all of that, man. Like my Instagram got hacked
Yeah.
a year and a half ago. So I lost all of my followers, bro. So I had to so
Wow.
right now I'm rebuilding my Instagram page. So it's just it's all of this,
Yeah,
man. It's
yeah,
all of this.
yeah.
It's an everyday learning
You
experience,
know,
and it's not just create music.
You know how you have to look at it too is like, if you had a or if you have or had a 9 to 5, and you figure you get up when you have to get up, you have to be there on time. You put in the hours overtime, like you put in so much hard work for somebody else. Might as well just take that same mentality and apply it to yourself.
Seriously, you just
Yeah,
gotta take that same mentality, man. It's like you said, it's a job. It's a
it
job.
is.
It's a
But at least
job,
it's
man.
something you enjoy doing.
If you really want to do it. And even if it's just a side hustle or
Hmm.
something that you have fun doing, you still want to do it right.
Hmm.
So if you want to come off professional and you want people to take, what you're doing serious, you know what I mean?
Serious,
You
yeah.
got to put that time, you got to put that work in.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about Cocoon Movement?
That's the label. That's my baby. You know what I'm saying? So Cocoon Movements is my record label. That's my I would say consultant company because I'm not a
Okay,
manager, but I do have
okay,
people that I build with, you know what I'm saying, and that I kind of like help out, you know what I'm saying?
okay.
So that it's under my whole networking. Um yeah, man, Cocoon Movements, that's just like my imprint right there. And that's outside of
Okay.
what I do with the Sessions crew. That's outside of what I do with the Length Wave. You know what I'm saying? Cocoon Movements is basically my label. That's like all my music comes out of Cocoon Movement. You'll always see that, you know what I mean? That
The imprint.
branch and that
Hmm.
cocoon, you know what I'm saying? You'll always see that on every release.
Nice, nice. Okay. Um, do you have so much that we could talk about? So I know we're gonna probably end up skipping. You know, we could always do this again. I
Yeah,
just
man.
want to touch
Whenever,
on. I
bro.
want to touch on a few things though before we
Yeah.
go. On your album, The Travel Through Sound, right, with DJ Afar. Am I saying it correctly?
Yes, sir.
Afar.
Shout out to my brother
Okay.
DJ Afar, yo.
Um, you had, a lot of people were on that project. Could talk a little bit about it. How did that come about? What was the plan? And as far as the features that you have on any of your projects, how do you decide like who you're reaching out to and who you're getting? I mean, I've seen you have stuff with Prince Poe. I've seen Shabam Sadiq on some stuff. Um, I mean, Breeze. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of others. And there's somebody I want you to talk about too before we go. Don't let me forget
Yeah, yeah.
Elohim. I want you to talk a little bit about Elohim
Yeah.
when you have a second.
Yeah,
But
bro.
yeah, but talk about that one
Some of my
project in
favorite
particular.
people. Yo,
Yeah.
so actually, A Travel Through Sound with Afar is kind of like the unofficial but not official third spinoff to the Cuts and Collabos series that I did. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So Cuts and Collabos, like I said, in 1999, I wanted to put together a mixtape or just something to let the people know that I've been doing music, that I've been around for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I felt
Okay.
like I was slept on or whatever. So I met Afar. Afar is originally from Syracuse, you know what I'm saying, New York. So I met Afar out here. He did a show out here in out here in New York, and I met him. And
Okay.
then he brought me out to do a show in Syracuse. He brought me out a couple of times to do shows in Syracuse. So that became my DJ. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother DJ Afar, you know what I'm saying? So um me and him was talking one night, and this is like back in like maybe 2008, 9 or something like that. And we were talking and we were like, yo, um, I want to like put out like a mixtape or just something to he wanted to put out a mixtape to showcase his DJing skills, and I wanted to put
Mm.
out something to showcase some of the features that I was on. I didn't
Okay.
necessarily want to put out another cuts and collabos, which I'm going to put out a volume 3 in the future,
Mm-hmm.
but I still wanted to kind of put out a mixtape. So me and Afar just had an idea of just putting out some unreleased joints and recording some new joints and just kind of putting out like a just like that old mixtape feel. You know what I'm saying? And being that he's a dope DJ that actually scratches on records and knows how to blend and stuff like that.
Nice.
We said, yo, we'll put together like this mixtape. So I had a lot of those songs were like unreleased or and like songs that we took from projects and
Okay.
we put that together. Now
Okay.
with a lot of the features that I do, a lot of the features that I do actually are a lot of times people that I know. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? People that I know, people that I've met, you know what I'm saying, just coming up on the scene. Um, some of the features would be through like producers, like a producer will send me something and be like, yo, can you drop a
This.
verse on this? And then we might work out a deal. And then later he'll be like, yo, I got this person on the track. So sometimes things like that happen. But a lot of the features that I've done are actually people that I know. And
Okay.
I just always have a vision of doing songs with people that I think I would sound good with. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. 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 Mesh well
And
with.
that I
Yeah. Yeah.
know that I would just be able to make a good song with. So that's how I kind of pick a lot of those features. You know what I'm saying? Prince Poe, like I told you, my brother Mike One, who I was in the DMO crew with,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
basically introduced me to Organized Confusion. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I met Organized Confusion. Um, I got collabs with like the Cellar Dwellers because um, one of my peoples was in a group called the Morlocks, and the Morlocks was like
Okay.
a very pivotal underground group from back in the days. And they were the ones that would put me on to like the Lyricist Lounge and stuff like that. My brother Omega was the one that introduced me to Pumpkinhead and all of that. So I
Wow.
met Ugg through him, and this was before UGG was and Phantasm was a group. UGG was solo, and Phantasm was his hype man.
Wow.
Phantasm's name was Star Child. It was crazy
That's
when
crazy.
I met UGG back then. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So a lot of these people that I got a chance to do features with and stuff, it's a lot of people that I knew, like just and met coming up on the scene. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Elohim Star, that's my brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Talk
know what
about
I'm
him a
saying?
little
That's my
bit.
brother.
And
You know what I mean? Elohim Star, I've known Elohim Star since he was 16. You know what I'm saying? I met him in 97 when I was with the DMO crew. And me and him just been cool ever since. And that's like one of my favorite MCs. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite
really,
MCs. He's also like one of my best friends. So me and him just make like really good music. I feel like me and him make
yeah,
really good music together, and we really like, you know what I'm saying, have a good chemistry. So that's just like my brother. That's like on some Raekwon and Ghostface vibe. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
any album that I put out, you know what I'm saying, you'll probably hear Elohim Star on there. You know what I'm saying? Me and him, we're actually we talked about it. We said, yo, we got to put this album out together. You know what I'm
I was
saying?
just gonna ask you if
Yeah.
something like
So
is in the works or.
yeah, it's we have several projects that we've done, but we've never really like put out a project with me and him out together officially. You know what I'm saying? But we're finally gonna give y'all we're gonna give y'all some
Yeah, put it out,
Elo
man.
Life project. It's in the works. It's in the works, and he
All
makes
right,
beats
cool,
too.
cool.
He makes
All right,
beats too. His beats are crazy.
nice. You had something with Little Dap too?
Yeah. That was through Atari Blitzkrieg. You know what I'm saying? I was on his that was through it was really through Chrome Beats. Chrome Beats
Okay,
produced that track. So during the MySpace era, you know what I'm saying? Chrome hit me up and he said he was working with Atari and
okay.
they were doing an album, so they wanted a verse. So I gave him the verse. And then a week later he sent me the track and it had a little dap on there. I was like, oh word.
Hey, what?
But I actually I know Little Dap because I used to live in East New York. So shout out to my brother, Respect the God. Respect the God introduced me to P.F. Cutton. And we
Oh,
used
okay.
to go to P.F. Cutton's studio sometimes to record and stuff like that. And Little Dap used to always be at the studio. So, you know what I mean? So I met the God before, you know what I
Nice.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? But we weren't like in the studio or anything like that when that song was
Right.
recorded.
What about Finster?
That's family. Finster's family. That's fam.
Yo, Finster.
Finster used
Yo,
to have a radio show up at 88 Hip Hop. That's how I met
yeah,
Finster.
yeah.
Yeah.
I met
He was a
Finster.
cameraman. He was one of the cameramans too up at 88 Hip Hop too.
That's ill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Finster probably like around, man, I don't know. I want to say maybe like 2008 or
Wow.
2009. Like as far as like getting to meet him in person or whatever.
Right, right.
And like ever since then, man, we he's such a cool dude, man.
Yeah, man. He's
You
Finster's
know what I
good
mean?
peoples, man. Finster's mad good peoples, bro.
Yeah, he's so cool, man.
I've known
We
him for
you know like
mad years too.
when we do see each other, man, like I like yeah, he's
Finster sort of hosts
definitely
Finster, Evil D.
yeah.
I can tell you like so many people that watched that whole Stronghold movement start at 88 Hip Hop because a lot of those cats had radio shows and just things that was going on at 88 Hip Hop.
Right, right, right. So it was like, yeah, and you because you said when that was going on, it was early on, and with the online. So I'm sure that was like another, like kind of like what Fat Beats was in a way, as
Right,
far as a
right,
meeting hub. That became that. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I don't know if you ever did you ever go up to when Rhino was doing Gorilla Groove Radio
Did I?
out in the
What do you mean,
Bronx?
like?
Did you ever go up to the show Gorilla Groove Radio?
No, 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 no. I know about it, but I've
Okay.
never been there. But I
Yeah,
know
I
about that.
used to
That's
host that show with Rhino too when they first started. Me and Rhino used to be the hosts. But the reason
yo.
why I
I gotta
mentioned
go
that,
back. I gotta go back. We interviewed Rhino.
yeah,
And I got to go back now because he talked about when he first started it. I'm
yeah,
curious now.
we used to host
Uh,
that together. You know what I'm
I got
saying?
to check because I know
Um,
what you call it does it with him now, right? Breeze Brewing.
Right.
No, wait, is it Breeze Brewing right from the Juggernaut?
Yes, Breezy Brewing. But
Breezy
the
Brewing,
reason
yeah,
why I
yeah.
mentioned Gorilla Groove was because the way they set up the way their show was set up in the Bronx, where they would allow people to come up and chill, and you could actually see the interviews, and you could chill,
Yeah,
smoke
yeah.
up there, ciphers. That's how 88 hip hop used to be back in the days.
Okay, okay, that's ill. That's ill. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about the other project, In the Day of the Night?
In the day of the night, haha, that's the joint.
And why? What's up with the title, In the Day of the Night? Yeah, that's it. Yo, you have more of those?
I do. These are the ones the OBI strip. I got the ones without. I got tapes.
Nice.
I got CDs, and everything has a different cover. The CDs and the tapes have songs, exclusive songs that are not on the other and that are not on the vinyl. And anything
Oh,
that's streaming, the bonus tracks are not streaming. So it's like you're gonna want to collect one. You're gonna want all of them. But In the Day of the Night is an album
well,
produced entirely.
save me a package, bro. Save
I
me a
got you,
package.
brother. I got you.
For real. Oh wow, that's crazy.
I got you, brother.
Um,
Entirely produced by Noam Chomsky from the Netherlands. Um,
yeah.
yo, this brother, he hit me on Instagram. While I was working on the Still Relevant album with S.I.'s Finest. So I was
Okay.
working on that album with S.I.'s Finest. Um, I started working on that album right after the passing of my mom in
Okay.
2021.
Oh
So
wow.
while I
Okay.
was working on Still Relevant, Noam Chomsky was sending me beats. But I was like, my mom was just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to create to get through what I was going through. But I told Noam, I was like, yo, I'm gonna get back to these beats. So when I finally finished the Still Relevant album, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to create again. So I went into these beats that I was sitting on for months. And
Fire.
I was like, yo, I literally kicked myself. And I had to like hit up this dude Noam and I had to apologize to him and be like, yo, brother, my bad, fam. I didn't realize you had heat. And then I did my homework. And I saw like the music that like the projects that he was working on and the artists that he was working on. And I was like, yeah, I got to start cooking. So I immediately went through those beats and started cooking.
Started making. Wow.
And I literally wrote a song to every beat that he sent to me, like literally. And he was
Wow.
like, yo, man, you
Nice.
can't take all of these beats because I got to start sending them out to other people. So it was like, you know what I mean? We were able
So
to
how'd you figure that out?
well, after after I ran through all of the beats that he was sending me, and I made a mistake and recorded over beats that were sent to other people and everything. So we had to get stuff organized. And then he finally sent me a pack that was just exclusively for me. And then I just
Okay.
worked from there. And then we just started working, man. And then we cooked this up.
Nice.
This project was probably one of the fastest projects that I recorded. Like
Really.
Still Relevant was recorded pretty quick too with SI's Finest. Shout out to SI's Finest. That took maybe about, I would say, maybe like 6, 7 months to actually record with the mixing and mashing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
In the Day to Night, I was literally, he sent me, I started working on that album January of 2024, and we was
Okay.
already finished with the album by like March.
Wow.
Yep. I was just finishing like the last bits of songs by like that April or whatever. And then we put it out in August.
Wow. That's
You know what
crazy.
I'm
That's
saying? The
nice,
vinyl
man.
came out. The vinyl was already we was already you know what I'm saying, waiting for the vinyl to come. It just like, you know what I mean, the company kind of like messed up a little bit and it took a little bit
Mm-hmm.
longer. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? This album took like literally like 2, 3 months to create. You know what I
That's
mean?
crazy. What is that? Like the concept of the title. What's the concept behind
The concept
the
in the
title?
day to night, basically everything that happens in the day also happens in the night, and just the transition of dark and light. A lot of the beats that he sent me was he sent me a lot of dark beats, and then he sent me a lot
Okay.
of light beat, like a lot of beats that had like light to it too. So when I thought about the concept, I was like, I kind of want to like do something that represents the beats. And I just kept thinking about that concept in the day to night. I was like, yo, in the day to night, like in the day to night. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the whole thing to be like in the day to night, everything that happens in the dark comes to light.
Comes to light. Right,
But
right,
that
right.
would have been like a too long of a title. So we just stuck with the in the day to night concept. And also just the transition of he's out in Amsterdam. So right now it's
Mm-hmm.
morning and
Yeah, yeah.
right and out here it's nighttime.
Right,
So it's
right.
like the whole like
It
transition,
represents
the
him. Yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
representation of that
Nice,
too.
nice,
And
nice,
this is
nice.
not my
Yeah.
first like rodeo with working with like international producers because I also put out two producers that were in two albums before this that was
Mm-hmm.
produced entirely by international producers. So being able to work with Gnome was kind of like it was like kind of revisiting and just like starting a new relationship of working with international producers.
Got you, got you. Let me see. I'm trying to think if I want to ask you about the. So you have a connection with Bobito Ross.
Yes.
Um,
Bobito Ross, I found
w-
out after that he went to my high school.
oh, really?
he graduated. He graduated the year, either a year or two after, a year or two after me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yo,
Because we was talking, and he knew like OG graffiti artists that graduated from my class and shit like that. And I was like, wait a minute, what?
how do you know that? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Bobito
nice.
Ross.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm gonna
Hold on,
show
hold
you
on, hold
something
on.
right quick. So you
Yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
Bobito Ross.
And then we'll kind of tie this up.
Yeah, because Bobito
Yeah.
Ross did the Still Relevant album cover.
That's
That
that's that's
that
that's why I was bringing them up.
look at that.
Yeah.
That's the
Hold
original
on, hold on.
piece. That's a canvas. That's the original piece that he did. So that inspired the actual album cover that he did. But that's the original
Ah,
piece right here.
yo,
So
that's
that's a
ill.
canvas
So
where he
yeah,
took magazine prints and
yeah.
he puts it and then he spray painted everything over the shit like that. And then it
Okay.
went to that, which was the graphic version. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see, I saw that, you know what I mean, and then I saw his name, and I was like, oh wow,
Yeah, that's my
that's an ill
brother, man.
connection.
He's a dope
Wow,
graffiti artist and just like illustrator. We got T-shirts
yo,
for
he's
that album too, directly on his website too.
okay, okay, yo, he's ill, man. I came across him. I want to say it might have been through Power Rule actually,
Yeah,
because
the
I know he does a
leftovers. He's
lot of
one of the
stuff with the
leftovers.
leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 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 yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I love how it all connects, man.
Yeah, man.
I
It's a
love how
good
it all
vibe,
connects.
man. I like this. I
But
like this. I don't even feel like it's an interview. I just feel like I'm kicking it
I,
with you, bro.
I know, I know, I know. We gotta let's
Uncle E.
let's
On some
wrap.
Uncle Ralph shit.
Yo, what do you think it called? Actually, it's funny. I didn't even give myself that name. It came actually from where I was working at.
Right,
They just started calling me that, and
right.
then somebody else kind of started saying it, and I just kind of kept, it kind of kept coming up because it kind of was more like like that one uncle that you kind of like or whatever.
It
It
fits
was
because
kind of like
that's
that. It
what
was
we that's what our generation is referred as anyway, the unk. You know what I mean?
right. So I kind of just kept. I was like, you know what? I kind of like it. It's cool. People are saying it anyway, so
I
I
like
ran with
it. I like it, man. It's like
it.
some Uncle Ralph
but
vibe.
but and then that's what I'm saying. That's how I kind of was like, you know what? Some of the people that I like, Uncle Ralph, LL Cool J, Uncle L, like I was like, hey, I'm not as big and popular, but I'll run with
It's
it.
dope though. It's dope. I love
you
it.
know. So yeah, let's tie it all in,
Yes,
man.
sir.
So
I
so
want to
anyway,
interview you actually for my platform too, but we'll sidebar and talk about that later.
yeah. That's yeah, cool, cool. All right. So life, man. Before we go, I appreciate you taking the time. You know what I mean? There's so much more I know that we could talk about, and we will at some future time. But before we go, do me a favor. Let everybody know where they can find you at. Where can they get any of your music, merchandise, whatever you have going on. And also, take a quick minute to talk about the showcases and shows that you do.
Oh,
If you have
thank you, man.
any coming up or whatever, let the people know what's going on with that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me on the platform, brother. Like I
Yeah.
was telling you earlier, man, before we started. I don't know, man. I feel like people don't want to talk to me, man. I've been doing this for
Ah,
a
nah,
long
nah.
time. Like you see, man, we rock for like 2 hours, bro. I got a lot to say, and we haven't even covered. We got to do a part
I
two,
know.
bro, because I
I
got more
know for
stuff to
sure.
talk about. But yeah, man. If y'all want to tap in and just vibe with the music, all of my music is streaming on all of the platforms. I put out 2 albums last year, In the Day to Night. Also, still relevant. You know what I'm saying? I'm in an international group called Fresh Imports with a UK artist from Bristol, UK called Mopman. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole other conversation in itself because he is literally um basically like I'm 22 years older than him. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing boom bap music from a different country. You know what I'm saying? And it's like two different cultures. You know what I'm saying? That have crossed as well because you got a UK artist. You know what I'm saying? And you got a Brooklyn artist. You know what I'm saying? So definitely look out for that. All of the music for myself can be found on lifelong.bandcamp.com. You know what I'm saying? That's where you could get all of the merchandise, CDs, you know what I'm saying? The vinyl, you know what I'm saying? I got this vinyl out too, which is the From Nowhere project with Fatboy Sharif, produced by Drive By and DJ Afar. That's our little group. This is an exclusive vinyl that's out. So just tap in to my Instagram, Life Liggy Long on the Instagram, the Real Life Long on Facebook. That's the fan page, or Liggy Long on Facebook. Um, Spotify. It's L.I.F.E.long. Um, yeah, the real life long on X. I don't really use that too much though.
Nah.
But just tap in. You know what I'm saying? And then as far as the shows, I'm down with a crew called the Sessions Crew A.L.I.S Showcase. And that's myself, Respect the God, Poet Substratum, A Sharp, Cut Supreme. And we throw a monthly in Brooklyn at this spot, Secret Pour in Bushwick, Brooklyn, 1114 DeKalb Avenue, the third Friday of every month. Our next showcase is on March 21st. It's going to be for Women's Month. So we got an all female showcase with female MCs, female producers, female DJs. You know what I'm saying? We got
Nice,
we got
nice.
Lady Heroin from the Juggernauts rocking. You know what I'm saying? So that we're doing is a mashup with my homegirl Moda Great. She's a dope MC from Boston. You know what I'm saying? So she's coming out and she's doing a showcase with us. So look out for that. I'm also doing shows with my brother Mo Ogun. We are the length, and our showcase is called the Wavelength. You know what I'm saying? So we did a show in January with Jamal Gasol, Ox Omni, and FU. So we have another show coming up next week, Friday, in Harlem, 114 West 116th Street. The name of the place is called The Spot. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Okay.
nice little cozy place. We got Ito rocking. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be Ito, Nice the Future, Reno RX. So that's just something that I'm doing. I'm doing these shows. Me and Emma are doing joints like pop-up shows. And then I got the monthly showcase with the Sessions crew. So yeah,
Nice.
just look out, tap in. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Me and Emma also have our own podcast. You know what I'm saying? The Length Wave podcast, the Thundercast, and we got a couple of interviews now that we've done. Check the YouTube, check the Length Wave page on Instagram, and just a lot of
Okay.
stuff coming. I got more music coming. I have two other solo albums on the way. The Fresh Imports, me and Mop Man, we got 2 albums on the way this year. Me and Afar got a project that we've been working on. So I've been cooking. You know what I'm saying? Me and Big Deep got a single that's about to drop pretty soon. Um yeah, I've been cooking. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
No doubt. Well, man, like I said it when we started, NSWAY 73 TV, the TV stands for Talent and Vision. And after listening to you, you definitely have the talent, obviously, and the vision to put everything out there, and the vision to create, your lane, and as far as seeing what it is that you want to do and in the direction that you want to go in. I know there's still a lot more to do, and it
A
takes a lot
lot
more
more, a
work.
lot
You
more.
know what I
And
mean?
I and
But
I'm and
but
I'm old as hell and still trying to do this. But you
But
know what though?
when
I
you
said
love
to
what you
myself
do,
already, man.
there's
This
no
is
time limit.
I'm doing it for fun. I've been doing it. This what makes me happy. This what keeps me young. And as long as I have something to say and I have a voice left, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, no doubt. And you never know who you will impact or make a, somebody that will see what you're doing, hear what you're doing, and want to do it. You know what I mean?
Facts.
You never know, man. You never know. They might not say it. You know what I mean? You might not
Right.
know, you know what I mean, for sure, but it's hey, listen, if we made the connections that we've made, how we were talking, you know what I mean, without even knowing, it happens, man. So just keep doing what you're
Facts.
doing.
Yeah, thanks,
Um,
man. You keep doing
yeah,
what you're
yeah, yeah.
doing too, because we need more platforms like this. We need more, you know what I'm
Thank
saying,
you.
just brothers like you that are actually enlightening and showing these younger heads too of our history.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's missing, man. It's missing. We need more people like you, bro.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So listen, we will connect very soon, and
Please,
we'll do
man.
another part so we can get
Please.
some more stories.
They don't call me
Yeah.
lifelong for a reason, because lifelong, I talk a lot.
Yo, we didn't even talk. Does what the word life in your name? Does it have? Is it an acronym to anything,
Living in
or is
full
it
effect. It's on some old
living in
school, because remember that was the term back in the day. Living in full
full of
effect, in
full?
the place to be. So I had that name since like '88. Living in full effect. The long came on later. I was just like, you know what I mean, lifelong. And then the liggy, it's because I'm skinny. So it's just like, and also kind of like, you know how
The DOS effects.
for shizzle, yeah, exactly, like the diggity, yeah. So life liggy. So there you go.
Yeah, real quick too. Remember back, um, like I want to say like around like in the '80s. Remember that you could look at someone and be like, "Yo, that guy must be from Queens," or "That guy got to be from Brooklyn," like based on the way they kind of
Right,
dress or the
right,
way
right,
they rock
right,
stuff.
right.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, "Yo, this guy's born and raised in Brooklyn." Just because of the way you know what I mean? There's something about the way you look, the way you
It's
dress. I'm like,
both
that
though.
he's a
It's both
Brooklyn.
though, because it's like, because think about it. Born and raised in Queens, but most of my adolescent years and earlier years was in Brooklyn. And
Yeah,
now I'm
yeah,
in
yeah.
Jersey.
That's cool, man. Now, listen. Once again, thank you, man, for taking the time. Keep doing what you're
I
doing.
had a blast, bro. I had a
We're
blast, man.
connected. So anything you have going on, just let me know. Don't have to ask.
I will, brother.
Just shoot it my way.
I
Like I
will.
said, I have the flyers I have 3 of your
Come
flyers
out,
that I'm gonna
be
be
my special guest, man.
I'm gonna
To
be
any of these
posting it
events that
too.
you want to come out, man. You and anybody from the platform, y'all are on the list, so you done know.
Thank you,
You,
thank you,
all you
thank
got
you.
to do is just come out, brother.
No doubt. Once again, thank you to everybody checking us out right now. Sway73 TV on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram as well. I appreciate everybody. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, like, leave me a comment if you like this. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's a comment, and I appreciate it, and you took your time to do it. Peace.
Peace, y'all.